Sydney's advantage was her guns, and her guns were useless at the range she chose to fight. She closed until a warship superiority stopped mattering. She won every category except the only one that counted. Dusk, 19th November 1941. Off Western Australia. A single merchant ship, claiming to be the Dutch Straat Malakka. Sydney hoists the secret challenge. 2 letters. IK. A real Dutch freighter answers in seconds, but this one stalls. How did the Royal Australian Navy's most celebrated cruiser end up here, alone? Start with the ship, because the ship was the pride of the fleet. HMAS Sydney was the Royal Australian Navy's celebrated light cruiser, fast, well-armed, and famous for it. A year earlier, she had cornered the Italian cruiser Bartolomeo Colleoni off Cape Spada and sent her to the bottom. Under Captain Joseph Burnett, she carried that reputation into waters everyone believed were quiet. On 11th November 1941, Armistice Day, she left Fremantle with a job to do. She was escorting the troop ship, Zealandia North, toward Singapore, shepherding soldiers through a war that had not yet reached this ocean. It was the kind of duty a cruiser did without thinking twice. On 17th November, she reached Sunda Strait, the gate between Sumatra and Java, and handed the Zealandia off to HMS Durban. The escort was done. Burnett turned Sydney around and pointed her home. She was due back at Fremantle on the 20th. 3 days. A clear run, nothing on the plot. This was a routine homeward passage. Remember that phrase? Because everyone aboard believed it too. And here is what Burnett could not see. Somewhere in the empty water ahead was a danger the Australians knew existed, but never expected to meet. A German auxiliary raider. A merchant hull. Ordinary as any freighter, with heavy naval guns hidden behind fake deck plating and a false name painted on her side. These raiders hunted alone, sinking Allied merchant ships across 3 oceans, then vanishing before anyone could answer. Nothing about them looked like a warship, and that was the entire point. Sydney was steaming home confident, and confidence, out here, was the most dangerous thing she carried. The lantern on the stranger's bridge blinked out a name. Straat Malakka. A Dutch merchantman, she claimed, bound along the trade route with nothing to hide. It was a good choice of name. The Dutch ran ships through these waters all the time, and a tired cruiser homeward for Fremantle had no obvious reason to doubt one. So Sydney did what a careful ship does. She asked again. What followed was a running exchange of signals, and the trouble announced itself early. The replies came back slow, and they came back wrong. A signal would go up from Sydney, and hang there while the other ship fumbled for an answer that a working merchant crew should have known cold. Every question met a pause, and every pause stretched a little longer than the last. Each one was a small piece of information, and none of it pointed anywhere good. Here is where the story turns on a single decision. Sydney's greatest advantage over any merchant ship was distance. Her guns outranged anything a freighter could carry, and from far off, she could dictate the whole encounter. She gave it away. Foot by foot, she closed the range, drawing in to read the stranger better, to press her harder. The nearer she came, the smaller that advantage grew. She was trading the thing that kept her safe for a better look at the thing she distrusted. Then Sydney sent the one signal that should have ended the doubt. The secret challenge, 2 letters, IK, a call any genuine Dutch merchantman would answer without thinking, because she carried the reply in her books. This ship did not answer. She stalled, and a ship dressed as a Dutchman, flying her colors, unable to give the Dutch reply, is not a merchantman at all. Sydney kept closing. The range was nearly gone. Look at where Sydney is now. On the evening of 19th November 1941, a beam of the merchant ship, matching her course, close enough that a signalman could read faces on the other deck. This is a cruiser with 6-inch guns and armor and speed, and she has parked all of it inside the one range where none of it matters. At a mile, her advantages are decisive. At this range, they are decoration. The ship that would not answer the challenge, the one flying Dutch colors, calling herself Straat Malakka, was never a Dutchman. She was the German auxiliary cruiser Kormoran, commanded by Theodore Detmers, and while Burnett pressed his signals and closed the gap, Detmers did the one thing a raider does well. He waited. Guns already trained and torpedo tubes already flooded. He needed Sydney exactly where she now sat, and Burnett had brought her there himself. Then Detmers gave the order. The Dutch flag came down, and the German ensign went up. And in the seconds it took to change one piece of cloth for another, Kormoran opened fire. The first salvo could not miss. It went straight into Sydney's bridge and superstructure, into the exact spot where the men making decisions were standing. The gunnery director, the bridge team, the command staff, gone in the opening seconds. The officers who might have turned the ship, ordered the guns, saved anyone at all, were dead before most of the crew understood a battle had started. So here is the question that will follow us to the end of the story. Sydney's whole strength was her standoff, her ability to sit at a distance and destroy a merchant hull before it could touch her. Burnett threw that away. He closed to point blank against a ship he could not identify, and paid for it in the first 10 seconds. Why he did it is the wound at the center of this wreck. Hold on to it. What follows is the exchange itself, and it was brief. The two ships tore each other apart from a range where neither could miss. How long it lasted, nobody agrees. Some accounts say 5 minutes, some say 30. I am not going to smooth that over. The men who could have told us are dead, and the ones who lived were counting under fire. But by the time the guns fell silent on that evening of 19th November 1941, both ships were mortally wounded. Kormoran was burning, her engines wrecked, her crew already thinking about the boats. Sydney was worse. She drew off to the south, on fire from bridge to stern, and the dark took her. That was the last anyone saw of the ship that had turned for Fremantle on a routine passage home. 645 men went with her, and there were no survivors. Not one. Australia did not know any of this. Sydney was due at Fremantle on 20th November. She did not arrive. Overdue, they wrote, and they waited. On 23rd November, the Naval Board sent her a signal. Nothing came back. The first sign that a battle had been fought reached them on 24th November, and it came from the wrong side. The tanker Trocus, west-northwest of Carnarvon, reported pulling seamen off a raft. Not Australians, Germans. That was the evidence. Now comes the harder question: how a light cruiser let it happen. They found her in 2008, sitting under 2,500 meters of water off the coast of Western Australia. A year later, the Coal Inquiry delivered its verdict on Joseph Burnett. He acted, they said, inexplicably, but not negligently. Let me sharpen that. Here is why he threw away his standoff advantage. He closed. A cruiser's one edge over a disguised raider's range. Guns that reach further. Armor that can trade a blow and live. Burnett brought Sydney inside all of it, abeam and point blank, and surrendered the only thing keeping her alive. The call was wrong. It was decisive. But wrong is not incompetent. Burnett acted on what he knew, shared the risk he ordered, and died on that bridge with every man aboard. 645 hands aboard. No survivors. The worst loss in the history of the Royal Australian Navy. A failure of doctrine, not of the men who paid for it. 645 hands, and a wrong call that cost all of them. That's the whole story. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and share it. I'll see you next time on Ask Sable.